What up, everybody? I am your host, JP, and this is my co-host, Josh.
Hey, everyone.
Welcome back to another episode of the Filmbros podcast. All right, y'all. So, welcome back. And for all the new listeners, welcome in. We appreciate your guys' listen. If there's any movies that you guys want us to review, any topics that you guys want us to talk about, if you guys are trying to catch up on older content, we have more episodes out right now. And if you guys are trying to support us in a big way, Josh, can you let them know where they can talk to us?
Twitter, TikTok, Instagram at Filmbros Podcast. We post when new episodes are up. You can hit us up there for any news or movies you want us to cover. Listen to our podcast anywhere you get your podcasts. Support us in a big way. Buzzsprout, link is in those bios of the socials I just gave you. Supporters get special perks and things like that for subscribers only. So you help us out and you get a reward out of it. When it's all said and done, just hit up our YouTube at Filmbros Podcast.
Yes, sir. And with that, I just wanted to go ahead and ruin your day a little bit, Josh. Not ruin your day, but at least...
It's always something.
At least get us started with a decent topic. And I know we touched up on Superman Legacy and the canon and James Gunn in the last episode, but in this one I kind of wanted to touch on the fact that we have some people perpetrating this narrative that Superman Legacy does not need to do well in the box office to continue its run. Now, I know what you're saying. What? Superman Legacy don't make money. How can it continue with a universe? I know what they did with Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
People's thoughts and theories. Now, there's this one scooper that came out, and he tweeted out this saying that the questions I have seen a lot lately as the DCEU bids farewell in a melancholic fashion are: will Superman Legacy be a hit? What if it's not? For the beginning of a new universe, a new spanning universe such as the DCU, Superman Legacy shouldn't be concerned about being an instant financial hit, nor should the studio behind it worry about its finances before making sure of its quality. Now, I get it. Yes, well, let's worry about the movie's quality first. Obviously, that's, making Superman Legacy the best Superman movie is its top priority. Yes, that's what it's supposed to be focusing on. But my G, in my opinion, if this movie doesn't make money, and I don't know, you could tell me if I'm being petty about this, okay? Tell me if I'm being petty. If I am, call me out.
Okay.
If Zack Snyder's Man of Steel goes on to be $800 million and they still considered it a flop, and Superman Legacy goes out and only makes 500 mil, 400, 600, whatever, which is moderate, right? That's in a good range.
That's like average.
Wouldn't it be fair for him to scrap his DCEU as well, or at least do what they did to Zack Snyder? Or do we want better for James Gunn, and we want to, regardless of what the numbers are, push on with his vision, finish that shit up? We want to see at least a finished or at least a cohesive DCU.
Well, I can give you two answers. I can give you the biased, or I can give you the unbiased.
Okay, let's go with the unbiased, and then I want to get that biased.
Okay. Unbiased. Unbiased says that even if Superman Legacy does flop, and taking in facts, not taking in, again, this is unbiased, numbers would tell you, only because of the past, that what we saw is that it would go on, but it would be bastardized, right? Guess what they did with Zack. Still in unbiased territory.
And Zack aside, real quick before you keep going, Zack aside, the Warner Brothers, we've known them to have a history of meddling with their movies
before him, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you call it? Is Aslov in this new regime anything like that? We don't know yet. We still have to wait and find that out. Mm-hmm. But we do know that if this movie does be a flop or whatever, it should. If it decides to go on, it will need course correction. That's where my head goes immediately. Unless they decide to be like, oh no, it's just the first in the entry, we'll take it on the chin, kind of like the MCU has been doing for a couple of years now. It just takes it on the chin, and they keep pushing forward, pump out the next product. Hopefully that one does better than Superman Legacy. That would tell you that, okay, they're in the sound mind to be like, they're just going to let it play out. They don't have time to course correct or whatever because they want that universe. Mm-hmm. That's unbiased. bias says, hell yeah, I hope that shit fucking burns. What the fuck? I hope he gets every treatment under the sun that they gave Zack Snyder.
Okay, wait, hold on. I'm not saying that we're preying on his downfall.
We're not saying that. I'll say it. Because I will say that shit right now, bro. I just seen a clip before we started this session of The Flash, and it's reignited me. So you basically like throwing wood into a fire right now. Like I seen it, and I was like, yeah, no. I hope the DCU gets every treatment Zack Snyder got under the sun.
Okay, so you want keep that same energy.
Basically,
you want to keep that same energy. All right, that's your bias.
That's my bias. Unbiased says looking at past and history would tell you that they'll course correct them, or they can take it on the chin, depending on which way they decide to go.
But what would you want him to do? Unbiasedness aside, that's what the routes that they could take. But what route would you want him to be? Would you want him to finish his DCU out, at least see if it gets better, or do you want them to immediatry course correct?
Well, I mean, like I said, I would imagine course correction.
That's what you would want.
Because if Superman Legacy doesn't work, they're gonna have to change something up to be like whatever. And now, granted, not every movie is gonna be Superman Legacy. I'm not saying that.
So finish the DCU with course correction. Basically. Make sure you give them notes and shit like that to
exactly.
Move forward. Okay. So with that, what is your guesstimation on what Superman Legacy would? I know there's an unbiased and a biased answer here. So unbiased.
Well, unbiased. I mean, even if bias says like I guess bias wise, I don't care for the numbers. Mm-hmm. Unbiased wise, I would imagine it would range close to what Man of Steel made, depending.
You think Superman Legacy will make like about $800 million
around there? I don't think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna do $1 billion. Obviously not. I don't think so. We don't know anything about the Superman other than that James Gunn's writing it, the cast or whatever. And I don't know. I honestly couldn't tell you, because if Snyder fans control the box office, quote unquote, that says that looking at everything else, this movie has the potential to just do bad and tank. Like, maybe not Flash bad, but yeah, tank.
Okay. See, I'm still in between. Like, I feel like I can't make a decision on what I feel they need to do with James Gunn. I do think, obviously, the course correction would be the smart thing to do, but not course correct to the point where, you know, obviously what happened with Zack Snyder and all that, to the point where, like, it just completely jumbled up the vision and tore up the universe. I would want at least... I just want to be able to see all my DC characters interacting, and I think if we got to put up with this a little bit, that's fine. My guesstimation with all the recent things that have been like happening with DC as of recently, I'm assuming this movie is looking to make about, well, I mean, any outcome can kind of happen, right? What if it's a good movie? What if it's a good action movie but terrible dialogue? What if it's right? So I'm thinking, knowing James Gunn and his style and knowing what he can bring to the table, I'm guessing a good $500 to $600 million. And I'm only saying that because with the damage with the DCU that's happening, obviously he's gonna have a hard time bringing all of the DC fans together. You know, cultists, DC fans, everybody aside. It's just gonna take a lot of squeezing through. Now, if the movie's actually like super good, I think it will start off with making like about 400. If the movie's okay, it'll cap off at like 600. If the movie's actually really good and it has good word of mouth and it doesn't have animal cruelty in there, I think it could probably hit like about 800 with word of mouth. But that's just assuming that like he buttons up on all the shit that he knows is going to turn people off. Yeah. Like that Peacemaker stuff cannot happen in Superman Legacy. That shit that was happening in Guardians of the Galaxy, I get it. He said crypto was going to be in there, and that's fine. I don't mind a crypto in there, but I don't need a fluffy, duffy animal everywhere that he fucking goes all the time either, unless it's like a kid's movie, you know? Yeah. But with that, I mean, at least with that, I have faith in James Gunn, but I don't believe 100% that he can deliver what we're looking for in a Superman film. I have to wait and see, at least with the trailer. But like I said, I'll have my good days and bad days. I know you have like this, like, you know, you got beef.
I do.
I know you got beef.
Yeah.
I have my good days and bad days when it comes to like James Gunn. Like some days I'm really like, like he's really not gonna be able to do this, and then there's some days where I'm like, okay, there is a glimpse of little shining hope in there, and I'm just chalking up some things to like Marvel being a part of it. But I'm rooting for this movie, and I'm hoping that it does good, but it's just this narrative that, hey, this movie doesn't need to make money. It needs to make money.
Yeah,
that needs narrative... to. If this movie winds up coming out making like 200 million or making the Flash numbers, that DCU is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
That would be like, we tasted it and you added too much salt, we spit it back at you. That's not going anywhere. So for them to be like, oh yeah, if the movie's a flop, will it still keep going? No, I don't think if it's a flop. If it does decent numbers, I think if it walks away with 400 to 500 million, I think they'll
a little bit more than to break even. That'll be fine.
Yeah, I think they'll green light more. But if it's below, they're not green lighting shit.
Exactly, they're gonna.
That's just financial.
They're gonna revoke the fucking keys from him. Like, that's all gonna be like, bro, you said you could do it. You don't have that dog in you. Like,
welcome to the reboot of the reboot.
Yeah, the fucking everybody get the flashback in here. But yeah, that narrative is ridiculous. That's not how Hollywood works. That's never how it worked. These movies need money. The WB needs a return to pump out more. If that makes any sense. That's always how it's been. Quality and all that, of course. Every movie is about the quality, but box office is a reflection of that quality. If you get a shit movie, you're going to get shit numbers. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Shazam 2, The Flash. Like, there's very good evidence that, hey, these movies are ass. They're going to do ass numbers. Like, that's just how things work. That narrative is ridiculous.
Or if superhero fatigue is the actual thing. We talked about that in the last episode.
Depends.
Go check it out.
That's a big if.
That is a big if. But yeah, stop pushing this narrative that Superman Legacy doesn't need to make money. It needs to make money, and it clearly needs to make money. So these people that say, "Oh no, it'll still do good or it still be fine if they don't make over 500 million or whatever," like that's, I mean, yeah, it's still gonna be fine, but you can't have a flop either, because if it's a flop, he's not continuing. Moving on though, NetherRealm's Ed Boon coming out saying that his dream game to make is a Marvel versus DC. Now NetherRealms is the makers of Mortal Kombat. They're coming out with Mortal Kombat 1. And he says he wants to do it, but, and this is his quote, he's saying, I mean, we did a number of games with DC characters. When you're kids and you're like, who would win in a fight, Mighty Mouse or Superman? These are just dumb different universe things. There's part of us that still have those immature conversations. To me, Spider-Man and Batman would be the coolest thing in the world. So, of course, we love to do that. But it's probably very difficult to jump into that hurdle. Made Mortal Kombat. He's already made Injustice, right? They've already fucked with DC multiple times. So, making a Marvel versus DC game, we already have a Marvel versus Capcom. A Marvel versus DC game, that would make money.
Yeah, that would sell. That would do huge. And, like if it has fight mechanics of like Mortal Kombat, yeah, that shit would be huge. I can only imagine the rosters and like the DLC characters and all that other fun stuff. But I just think it's Marvel not willing to play that game, you know, to like hand it over for the rights or whatever. Because I'm sure DC would totally be like, yeah, let's do it. Obviously, we have Injustice. Like, there even DC characters making an appearance in Mortal Kombat games. Hell, the Mortal Kombat versus DC game, if anyone can remember that.
Oh yeah.
But I think it's just Marvel not willing to like make that.
No, they would never. And that's only because like they're trying to keep that family friendly feel to them, which is weird, because in the comic books they don't do that.
Can't do that if Spider-Man's getting his ass beat by Batman.
Who's under that mask?
Basically.
Well, you know, Spider-Man would cream him because Batman's not a superhero. Anyways, moving on though. Well, on the same page, Ed Boon also confirming that your favorite character to play in Mortal Kombat 1,
I'm not gonna play this
will
character.
be Peacemaker, and you will hear John Cena's voice coming out of this character, as well as J.K. Simmons' Omni-Man.
Take my money. Take my fucking money. I want
that. We don't know yet. We know Homelander's also in there as well. It's unconfirmed whether Anthony Starr will be voicing Homelander as well. I assume so if J.K. Simmons came back, and so did John Cena. So I hope so. All but Peacemaker is made under Amazon anyway, so I'm sure they can work a deal between Anthony Starr and, you know, the creators of this game.
Yeah.
John Cena coming in as well for Peacemaker. I know how you feel about that. Are you gonna like play the character, or are you gonna aggressively take your anger out on said character?
I am gonna abuse that man in Mortal Kombat. You have no idea. I will use every character under the sun to murder Peacemaker. You have no idea. I'll probably try him out, obviously, just so I can see how he functions. But yeah, I can see myself fighting him to no end because I can't stand Peacemaker. And like, if I could use Omni-Man to do it, oh man, it's a wrap. Like yes, give me that.
Now, obviously, the power levels are gonna be fixed for this, right?
Well, yeah. They scale them out, yeah.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, I know you're the big Mortal Kombat fan.
Mm-hmm.
I like the games, but I'm not a big fan of the way the game style is as well. So, I mean, I'm down to play this now that I know Omni-Man and Homelander is gonna be in there. I kind of feel like I missed out when the boys was in Call of Duty. You know how like they did that for Godzilla vs. Kong and all that? Now they did it for like the boys, and they had like the V serum and all that in there. I think this is so cool. I love when like movies and games come together and like it's like a mixture,
exactly,
right? It's a good mashup because now you feel like you can appreciate both together.
Yeah, and like Ed Boon and Mortal Kombat have been doing wonders ever since X
with
came
crossovers.
Out. Yeah, or well, I guess ever since the DC game came out because
Yeah.
they had the DC one, and then Mortal Kombat at one point had Kratos in it, and then X had Leatherface, Alien, Predator. Like, very cool stuff. And 11 had my favorite mashup of characters. Like, I remember coming to you and making a big deal because Rambo was in it, Terminator was in it, RoboCop was in it. Like, you had the fucking 80s or 90s action heroes in that bitch. That shit was sick.
Yeah, that shit's dope. But I was going to tell you, I don't know if you've seen, well, I know you've seen, like, Gumball.
Yeah,
but there's an episode where I guess the dad is dressed up like Kratos for like Halloween.
yeah.
I seen it the other day. I was like, "What the hell? That's crazy!"
Yeah.
That actually
they're always doing metaphors like that. Like there's a whole scene where you remember he's the hippie clown teacher.
Yeah,
that way you call it. He's flying through the city looking like Neo from The Matrix.
Oh really?
They're always doing.
I know.
References like that.
I always see the little references and stuff, but like I was like the first time where I was like, "Oh shit!" Like they actually put like Kratos in there. There was other costumes in there too, but I just thought that one like pointed out to it, especially Jonathan, who was like, "Oh look, that is Kratos." I was like, "That's crazy to me." But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Maybe we can get this game and I could whoop your ass a little bit.
You ain't gonna whoop nobody. I have been playing this game.
He will rage quit
forever.
every single time.
No.
Actually, that PS4 is gonna be hitting you with
and the PlayStation might rage quit. He's like, can't do this no more.
Peacemaker. Moving on though, David Ayer coming out and saying that he's basically been robbed out of the Fast and Furious franchise. Him being on for the first ever The Fast and the Furious. Way back when. So back in the day, a couple writers had did an original script for the Fast and Furious. When Universal seen the script, they kind of looked at it and was like, let's do a rewrite. David Ayer, who was up and coming at the time, he wasn't really like this big name, was given it to be rewritten. He asked for a few conditions. They gave it to him. He wound up turning in the script. I believe he got credit, but he only was got a small amount of credit for what he thought was big changes. He basically says in this quote saying that the biggest franchise in Hollywood, and I don't have any of it. I got nothing to show for it, nothing, because of the way the business works. When I got the script, that shit was set in New York. It was all Italian kids, right? I'm like, bro, I'm not going to take this unless I can set it in LA and make it look like people I know in LA, right? So then I started like writing the writing in people of color and writing the street stuff and writing in the culture, and no one knew shit about street racing at the time. I went to the shop in Valley and met with like the first guys that were doing the hacking of the fuel convoys for the injectors and stuff like that. And they had just figured it out, and they were showing it, and I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm going to put that in the movie. And the narrative is I didn't do shit right. It's like people hijack narratives and control narratives, create narratives to empower themselves, right? And because I was always an outsider, and because like I don't go to the fucking parties, I don't go to the meals, I don't do any of this stuff, the people that did were able to control and manage narratives because they were socialized in that part of the problem. I was never socialized in part of the problem, so I was always like the dark creative dude. Beware.
That makes sense. It's interesting to know that he's always been that guy to like represent the culture, like even way back when.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I couldn't imagine, or I guess now we can't imagine the Fast and Furious franchise anywhere else but LA, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's where it started. That's where they took it back in 7. Like, now they're all over the world in Rio and stuff. But it started in LA. And, like, that's crazy. Crazy that he didn't get credit. Crazy that's how the system works. He obviously deserved more credit. I know that's probably long gone now, but yeah.
Yeah. And, I mean, think about it. He wrote the original Fast and the Furious, the one that made tons of money, the one that is still helmed to this highest peak, you know what I mean? Though the Fast and the Furious franchise has gone further and got a little bit more emotional,
yeah,
everybody still remembers where it started. Everybody says, oh, this was just a movie about cars and street racing and blah blah blah. Everybody felt the culture that was oozing from this movie that I feel really was missing in later installments. Though they captured a different lightning in a bottle. It wasn't that lightning that David Ayer had brought into it, which you can tell is that flair that David Ayer puts into his movies, because not only does this movie kind of remind you of the movies that he's made, like what is that one with Jake Gyllenhaal and the other one, On the Watch or something, On Watch or
End of Watch.
There you go.
Yeah.
That one, like his movies have a specific feel.
Yeah.
And to be honest, they missed out, because if they would have kept them on, who knows where this franchise. Well, this franchise probably would have stayed a little bit more grounded.
Well, yeah, I can only imagine. There's a lot of factors.
I don't think this franchise, with David Ayer, I don't think this franchise would have ever reached space.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Crazy to think about that stuff though, because this franchise could have been a lot of things, but now it's here. No, it's where Fast X is basically.
Yeah. How do you feel about that movie now that it's been a little while?
Fast X?
Yeah,
still alright. Not the worst one, or yeah, it's not the worst one, but it's decent enough. I know it's bad. No, it's not the worst. And again, same thing. I'll always say it. Like Jason Momoa just ties it all together.
Okay. Glad to clear that up.
That man is the glue. Let me tell you,
Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. I would agree with that. But another conversation that they kind of touched up on too is David Ayer's The Suicide Squad. Obviously, that's always going to be a topic of conversation.
Yeah.
John Berthal asked him himself, what is David Ayer's biggest heartbreak? And you know what? I'll just let you see the clip.
What's your biggest heartbreak in the film industry? What's the thing that's hurt the most?
All right. So Hollywood, I tell people, is like watching someone you love get fucked by someone you hate. So, you know, the big one is like Suicide Squad. That shit broke me. That handed me my ass.
How so?
Come right off Fury, right? Had the town in my hand. Could have done anything, and I did do anything. And, you know, go on this journey with it, and the same thing, like authentic, truthful. Let's do all the rehearsal. Let's really get in each other's souls. Let's create this amazing collaborative thing, right? And then Deadpool opened, right? And then they never tested Batman versus Superman, so they were expecting a different result, and then they got hammered by all the critics. And then it's like, okay, we're gonna turn David Ayer's dark, soulful movie into a fucking comedy now.
Sounds about right. That's exactly what happened. God damn. Ayer, man, I hope your cut gets to make it, man. It sucks to hear. It sucks to hear these things, because he's actively the only one still talking about it. Zack, he talks about it in hopes of like getting to continue, but he doesn't talk bad about anything else. He's not like he doesn't talk about the situation. He doesn't really address it in that manner.
I think that's Zack Snyder's fuck up too. I know he supports it and everything, but I think as well as he pushed for the Snyder cut, I think he should have probably pushed for Ayer's cut too. I think on some level there should be a little bit more unity between the two, especially if a lot of people put emphasis on the fact that that's an exact continuation to what Zack Snyder was doing at the time. You know what I mean? I don't know. Do you see it like that, or do you feel like that movie is something that should have been?
It would have filled that little arc, because it takes place right after BVS. So it's like Man of Steel, BVS, Suicide Squad, Justice League, and then so on and so forth.
You even see in the beginning the black banner of, Superman and all that as well.
Exactly. Like we can't really imagine what the world was like without Superman, because that's technically not the world that it's a part of. It's a bastardized version of it. It sucks that we're probably going to get it somewhere down the line or not at all. Like, it's still up in the air about it.
And how do you feel about, like, Zack not really pushing the narrative to release it more?
I can't really be mad at him about it. I feel like he's on to much better, greater things. I think he's ready to. I'm sure if the door were to open and be like, "Hey, do you want to continue?" He'd jump at it, hesitantly jump at it. But I think he's moving past that to do greater and better things, like the zombie movies, and then Rebel Moon. So I think he's trying to just put it behind him. But I know he knows that if the opportunity arose, he'd go back to finish.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think that his movie should be realized too, and I always wondered too, because I always feel like he always talks about the Suicide Squad on Twitter and all that, David Ayer himself. Yeah. And I always wondered, like, I hope it's not coming from a like, about the, like, I'm gonna be hitting you with these strays every once in a while just because I feel like it, because of how dirty you did me with my movie. I always felt like it was coming from a part where, like, oh, let me explain, like, I promise, like, it was so good before, like, let me explain, please, because it sucks that you can't just show somebody the film and be like, look, this is what I had in mind, whatever the intent was. It's kind of like, oh, like, I swear this movie would have been better. And I feel like he owes it to himself to, like, make that vision a reality because of the way that it was taken from him, or maybe he has that endearing personality where, it was near to his heart. Mm-hmm. And especially, I mean, you've seen them. They even got a tattoo with each other because of, like, how they felt this movie was well made together, and the family that the bond that they put on set, like that, you've never heard of that before. And if you hear how David Ayer is with his people, I mean, when Fury was coming out, the way the cast spoke about David Ayer himself, it just shows what kind of guy that he is, and like how this cut would complete his life if he can show it. Exactly.
It's always going to feel like a part of him is just missing because he never got to show it. And he deserves to show it. He should have that right. So, #release the Ayer cut.
There you go. Let us know out there if you guys want to see the Ayer cut, or if you think that it's just the same thing. Because a lot of people were like, well, the Snyder cut was just a longer version of what we got in theaters.
That's not the case at all.
Moving on.
Okay.
I just wanted to insinuate something, but you don't believe me. You don't believe me.
Moving on. No.
Moving on though. It sounds like Zack Snyder is also going to be releasing a Snyder cut of Rebel Moon. I guess it's part of the conversation already. So it's kind of a head scratcher, right? And I guess his point of view makes sense, and I'll explain that right now. For those that don't know, Netflix is releasing 2 versions of Rebel Moon. It is also getting a 3-part trilogy with a second part set to release in April because it was such a big film that it needed to be made back to back. Yeah. We're getting a PG-13 cut, and we're also getting a rated R version of this movie. Now, Zack Snyder feels that that's not enough Zack Snyder content. Let's go ahead and make a 5-hour cut of said movies. God. Now, if you also know, guys, he also put out the Snyder cut, which is something we talk about on this podcast quite a bit. And we are very respectable to the film because of the way it was put together. Now, that was a long movie, but not only did that movie come out, but it also came out in gray. Yeah. So,
yes, it did.
Zack Snyder is one of those gifts that keeps on giving.
Yes.
He's like, here's your main gift and your side gift and your top gift and your, you know what I mean?
Your backup gift. In case
make sure that your hands are full and you can't reach for your keys when you're trying to put the gifts in the car, Yeah. And this was his, like, mentality towards it. So he says, the director's cut is close to an hour of extra content, so I think it's a legitimate extended universe version. You really get to see a lot. It's just more painted in all the way. The director's cut is a settle-in deep dive, which I have notoriously done throughout my career. I don't know how I got into the director's cut thing, but what I will say about it is that for me, the director's cut have always been something I had to fight for in the past, and nobody wanted it. It was this bastard child that I was always trying to put together because they felt like there was a deeper version. And with Netflix, we shot scenes just for the director's cut. So in that way, it's really a revelation because it gives that second kick at the can for big fans, like a real discovery that they would not otherwise get. I'm really excited about it. So he basically is a director who shoots a lot of scenes knowing that his movie's going to get chopped up regardless.
Yeah.
Because of studios. We've seen it happen with his first film, Sucker Punch. Then we kind of seen it happen with Watchmen. 300, his vision was realized with maybe a little bit of studio interference. But still, obviously, studios need to put their notes in. It's not always going to be 100% his vision. Then we get to Man of Steel. BVS gets 30 minutes out. Justice League gets completely revamped. And so, director's cuts have always been a part of his, a part of him because he is a director who literally films everything that he loves in the movie, and he'll cut things out that are obviously unimportant, but he feels will give
a little bit more detail.
Yeah, I don't know. You've seen all the director's cuts. Watchmen has a director's cut. BVS. Watchmen's like 3 hours, my man.
Yeah.
Yeah. BVS. Zack Snyder's Justice League. The only one that has yet to come out is Sucker Punch, but we're still waiting and hoping. Fingers crossed.
Well, director cuts are nice. Only in that aspect of, you do get more about what's missing. While I understand that some things need to be cut because they don't give detail to the story or whatever. Like a lot of MCU scenes get cut because they're just unimportant, and people are like, well, why did they cut that? I'm like, because it's unimportant. Like, you have to understand.
Some things are just too much.
Exactly. So I understand that director cuts need to be needed, but goddamn, 5 hours? Like, there has to be a line. And I understand he loves what he does, and it's exactly why these things exist. And I'm sure Netflix would love to put it out after seeing how the numbers do or whatever. But like for now, I think if you get close to the story you're telling without all those extra deleted scenes, you don't really need a director's cut. I feel like a director's cut is just that. It's always been the raw thing of movies. It's like the uncensored version, if that makes sense to me.
Not uncensored. I think I would say more closer to the vision. I would say director's cuts are always closer to the vision because there's so many director's cuts that I've seen that are way better than the studio cuts. And it's always because there's certain things that I know for a fact, and after seeing so many, I don't know how many you've witnessed outside of like DC and like Zack Snyder's portfolio, but I've seen a lot of regular cuts and director's cuts because I'm always one of those people that like to notice the difference and be like, oh, that's different, that's added a little bit more, stuff like that. It's fun for me. One movie in particular that I can bring up off top is Total Recall, the 2011 version with Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
When that movie came out, I was really excited for it because I was a fan of the Arnold Schwarzenegger one back in the 90s, I think, or 80s, whatever. And so when I was watching this one, I liked it. I'm not going to lie. It wasn't like a huge issue, but I was kind of like, there could have been a little bit more. But then I heard about like when the director came out, can't think of the director off top, but he came out basically saying like there was certain scenes that needed to be cut by the studio because the studio thought it was too confusing and the viewers weren't going to get it. It was just too much to juggle. And it basically had to do with spoilers if you guys haven't seen that movie, but and you don't care if I kind of spoil it.
No.
It kind of helped create more suspense because you didn't know whether it was reality or it was fake. So there was a lot of things to kind of help fake out the audience, and that was all cut out because the studio thought, according to the director, that it would be too confusing for the audience.
Yeah.
And I personally thought it was delivered well. I don't know, and I looked on Reddit and stuff like that and saw what other people thought about the director's cut as well, and a lot of people seem to like it a lot better than the studio cut. So there's more, most definitely same thing, that they're fighting for the Schumer cut of Batman, and so on and so forth. A lot of the times, director's cuts are just the vision realized. Like the studios go in there, they see the cut that the directors put out for them, and they're just like, I don't think people are gonna like that. And it just sucks that it goes from one man's head, you know, like probably some older dude that, you know, doesn't really see movies as like visions. They're just products to him.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it makes sense.
Little deep dive for you guys for director's cuts.
Yeah, it makes total sense that way. Because studios will always interfere. You know, oh, is this really that important? Is this like whatever? Anything to get the point across.
They got check boxes where directors are just more like,
hey, shit, you give me all this film, I'm probably not gonna use it all. I'm gonna use it on unimportant shit. Or
Zack Snyder's gonna use 2 roles after that and 3 roles after that.
Exactly, and Netflix honestly feels like the only place that'll oblige. So yeah, I think eventually we'll probably get something like that from Netflix, depending on how this franchise moves. But yeah, I don't think it's too far-fetched.
And honestly, I don't think Zack Snyder's going to just stay here forever. I think he went to a studio that's going to like really give him more freedom, because he's been with Warner Brothers since the beginning, since Dawn of the Dead, you know? And even then, he didn't fully... He directed it, but he didn't fully direct the movie. Like he was just up and coming at the time. But like he did that movie, barely got credit for it, wound up getting sucker punched, had studio interference, still hasn't have a director's cut. Same thing with 300, same thing with Watchmen, and so on and so forth. So I think he just wanted to go somewhere where he was going to be able to have his visions realized, because once that happens, that's when studios are going to come up to him and be like, all right, we'll give you what you want. And Universal's going to be like, hey, come work for us, we'll give you a contract, we will not interfere as much as we don't need to, and go crazy, bro, crazy. It's just, man, it just sucks that he had to leave Warner Brothers, because Warner Brothers is such a great studio. They just been fumbling in the bag for fucking years, bro. Years
for sure.
But another thing Zack Snyder is up for, and maybe we'll get multiple cuts of as well, is a Gears of War movie. And I'd say, make it happen, my man. Dave Bautista wants the gig. He's already done a movie with Army of the Dead. I think that they should just make this happen. Netflix has the rights. They already want this to happen. I've been seeing this all over like Twitter. Like people are just like, at least the Snyder enthusiasts are talking about like they want to see it happen. And I, for one, want this to happen. But at the same time, as somebody who's played the game and as somebody who has seen what happens to Zack Snyder when he has his vision, his way with certain IPs, just keep him away for this movie. It sounds like a dream, but just keep him away, only because I do not want him through the fucking ringer once again of, oh, he ruined Gears of War, there's no way that it was profitable, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Just
yeah, I don't know anything about this franchise. I do know Dave Bautista wanted it, and Netflix has been eyeing to make it. It's heads or tails about it, I feel, because I don't know anything about this game. Yeah. So, like, if Zach can do it, that would probably be my only iteration of me watching it, just to be like, okay, because I don't know shit. It's just one of those things where, like, hey, you don't know this adaptation? Well, they did this. Watch it without watching the OG stuff. Death Note, like if we've touched upon, Mm-hmm. So, yeah. I mean, I don't see why not. It looks like judging by this picture, it looks like something that's up his alley. Like I don't think this is far from anything he has done before.
No, but it would make an exciting game, I would say, or a movie. And I don't want to give him like too much praises, because like I said, he can totally make people I'm like you. If he makes it, I know that I'm probably going to like it, because I can detach myself from like the original game. It's just more like, can other people do that? And he will get put through the ringer once again. So I think it's up his alley as well. It's just more, will the people be accepting? Yeah. And that's another thing. And if this is the case too, that would make 3 franchises that Zack Snyder is kicking off at Netflix. And I personally just don't want him to get too comfortable there. I think that it's great to see him there at Netflix, but I think there's better studios that he could work for, that he can produce better looking content, because I'm 100% telling you, as much as the trailer looks great and I love the CGI that's happening, I feel like we're going to have some weird CGI in there only because of the Netflix budget. And I know Zack Snyder's going to do his best to obviously do what he has to do. I mean, he does it every time, but I mean, think about the tiger lion that was in Army of the Dead, you know. The budgets do have limitations sometimes. Yeah. And I can acknowledge that.
Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I don't see a downside to this really. So shit, why not? Give it to him.
Give it to him?
Gives a war movie. Why not?
You just want to watch it?
Yeah.
A Gears of War. Moving on though. Director Antoine, his last name's crazy. We'll just say Antoine. He was the director of the first Creed movie. He's been making the Equalizer movies. I believe he also did Fast and the Furious 8, right?
No.
Or no?
No.
No.
That wasn't him.
I think he was one of the directors that was also approached to make The Flash, and he was like, nah. He said no. But he question popped up and was asked if he
Fuqua?
Yeah, Fuqua.
Hold on. I just had the fucking link open. I'm dumb. Hold on.
Antoine Fuqua. I think that's his name. Hopefully we're not butchering it.
Antoine Fuqua. I don't know how to pronounce his name. He did Training Day, Equalizer 3.
Mm-hmm.
No, he did the first Equalizer 2. He basically ran that fucking franchise. Hey,
yeah.
He did Emancipation. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
He did The Magnificent Seven.
Yeah, there you
go. Southpaw.
All those.
Shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Olympus Has Fallen.
There you go.
The Guilty. Infinite.
Very good.
Tears of the Sun.
All those good movies.
A few more. Ain't no way he did. He did Bullet Train?
Yeah.
What the fuck? That's crazy. He did Bullet Train. So yeah, he has a bunch of things under his belt. He wants to do another Equalizer movie.
Prequel to the Equalizer with his son, and I told you before he's gonna be in the new The Creator.
Yeah.
It's his name is, what's his name again? Oh, John David Washington, Denzel's son. And apparently he's open to the idea of casting him as a younger Robert McCall, saying that, you know, he would rather skip out on like the likes of Michael B. Jordan and all that, and would rather just use Denzel Washington's son.
That would make sense.
And we've seen this with Apple TV's new Godzilla spinoff, right? In a couple episodes ago, where Wyatt and his father playing the same character and it's basically younger and older version. Yeah. I mean, could it work? We haven't seen him in a lot of roles, right?
Well, he was in Tenet. We
haven't seen Tenet.
He was in Black Klansman.
I haven't seen that one either. I've been wanting to see that one.
Yeah, he's in Amsterdam.
Which is that one? Let me see.
The one with Christian Bale. I actually wanted to watch it.
And Margot Robbie?
Yeah.
The one that bombed because of Margot Robbie?
It wasn't because of Margot Robbie. But yeah, he's in that one. He's actually been in quite a bit. Those ones are the native, and then The Creator, Malcolm and Marie. He was in that. I don't know what that is.
Oh, me neither.
That was another Netflix thing.
We gotta watch Tenet. I gotta watch Amsterdam too. I really gotta watch Tenet. I haven't watched Tenet.
Oh, is this the one? Oh, I think this might be the movie where they were saying that there's a sex scene with him and Zendaya. I think I remember that being the buzz.
Which one?
Malcolm and Marie.
Oh, okay.
That might have been the buzz when it dropped. It came out in 2021. I think I vaguely remember that. But yeah, he's been quite a bit. I don't see why not. That sounds like a very good casting idea. I mean, why not just use his likeness? You know, I think I said this on Twitter. I can't remember where I said it, but I was saying that him and Denzel, and then Wyatt Russell and his father, they have
Kurt Russell.
Wyatt and Kurt Russell. They have the careers, the father-son dynamic that Will Smith wishes he had with Jaden.
I know.
And it's very crazy because imagine, I know he's probably would, if he would have honed his skills, he probably would have been a decent actor. But imagine Gemini Man with just Will Smith and Jaden instead of having to de-age him.
Yeah.
That would have been nice. But because Jaden kind of gave up, that's not going to happen.
Well, he made music and did other things.
Well, yeah, he gave up on acting. But, they are having very successful careers, and I can only imagine Will Smith is just fuming because they're making it work.
He's over there seeing his son in dresses and like, what are you doing, my man?
Remember After Earth?
I know. This is like, you know, I know a lot of people are like speculating LeBron wants to play with his son in the NBA. This is like the equivalent of that. And so I think it's great. I've used their sons because especially if they're like coming in acting, I didn't even know he was like a hotshot and was in all those movies. Because to be honest, I haven't really been hearing his name. Maybe all the movies he's been coming out in, I just haven't been watching because I haven't seen The Black Klansman. I haven't seen Amsterdam. I haven't seen any of those movies, and I think that's probably another reason why, because his movies haven't really been hitting like his father's has, like Training Day and all those movies.
You'll get there.
Maybe because like the creator is what's putting him on the map for me. I really want to see that movie for that, and maybe seeing his chops in there is gonna make me want to look through the rest of his resume. But his name didn't really hit my desk until the creator. And he's been in Tenet and all that stuff, but maybe Tenet was because of COVID, and maybe we can excuse him
depending how you view that.
And I don't even know the Klansman. Did that one get a lot of play? Is that the one where Adam Driver's like the meme of where he's like,
oh yeah, he says the line and everyone's like, bro, you're just supposed to tell him to stop.
When it's like he played that role a little too well.
Yeah, that's the one. 2018, Ron Stallworth is the first African American detective to serve in the Colorado Springs Police Department, determined to make a namesake for himself, and sets out to basically stop the KKK.
Yeah, so I gotta watch that one. I'll probably do my homework on him because he seems like a powerful actor. He might be like up his dad's lane, but I don't know. Maybe because I grew up with Denzel Washington. John Q, all them, like he was just like this.
Oh yeah, he was
emotional heartstring kind of guy, and I was just like, damn,
Denzel.
I fucking love Denzel. But speaking of how Margott Robbie bombed that movie,
it wasn't because you couldn't even remember the name.
I was gonna say Babylon, but it's Amsterdam, huh? Apparently they say failed, but I don't think that she failed out of the audition. She wound up auditioning for American Horror Story Asylum way back when, and they wound up not giving her the role. A lot of people are speculating it was Leslie's Brocheur's character, which I don't know if you remember Asylum. It was the girl that was basically running the asylum within abducting everybody or whatever. The one that was gonna be the one that basically goes crazy. I don't know if you remember that show or if you've seen that season at all, but apparently she had auditioned for it.
Yes,
and that's fucking crazy in and itself. I never even knew that, but apparently the casting director said that Margot had a lot of factors. That was a tough thing about casting directors who aren't in the room anymore with the actors. That Margot is probably one of my favorite auditions of all times, and it was right before she broke out. She was such a star. It was crazy. Her star appeal when she walked in the room, even though she didn't get the role, that was one of those things as a casting director where you go, this is a star, what do we do with her? Immediately, though, she was out of our realm of possibility of hiring, but that's really the fun part of casting, is seeing the people whose careers are just rising. But yeah.
You're telling me she couldn't get that part, but Kim Kardashian can get a part in a different
We're
show?
in a different era, man. We're in a different era.
No. Acting is acting, and I would rather see Margot Robbie than Kim Kardashian acting.
Well, you got to understand, Margot Robbie at the time of Asylum, because that one came out, I think, 2013 or something like that. And at the time, she wasn't even a thing. She wasn't a thing at the time, was she?
No, they said it was like right before her breakout, so I'd imagine probably before Suicide Squad.
This show came out 2012, 2013. This season came out 2012, 2013, and at the time, let me see if she came out in any movies around that time. Wolf of Wall Street. So she basically got dropped from there and immediately got scooped up somewhere else.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah. Suicide Squad came after that. No, actually, she was in Focus before she was in Suicide Squad. So she went Wolf of Wall Street, and then she basically went to Focus with Will Smith, which she was fucking phenomenal in that one, I believe. She did About Time, I guess. Oh, she had a side role in About Time. I guess she was the friend, and that came out in 2013. So that's where she probably did her due diligence, was the side role there, and went up from there. Oh, yeah, she did little movies there. Sweet Française. That's like a French movie. Sorry if I butchered your French. But yeah. So she basically got scooped up in a different major movie as a side character and then possibly came out in the other 2013 film. So the casting director said it himself. She was already like a rising star. I don't know if she failed out of it completely, or was it because maybe she got the role and she was like, well, I'm not going to do TV. I'd rather do this role. I'm not sure.
I don't know what it could be. Unless they disclose it permanently, it could be up to anything. Could be that she failed. Could be that, you know, she just wasn't a good fit or whatever. Because how do you fail an audition?
You don't get the part. Ask Nicholas Hoult.
Is that failing?
Well, yeah,
Does that classify as failing?
I would assume you fail because you don't get the role.
Well, yeah, but like,
I mean, even if you make top 3, you don't make number 1. So if you're not first or last,
I don't want to say the whole line,
oh.
but I don't know. I don't know if I believe that. Like, I don't think it's failing. I think it's just like, hey, this person just did a little bit better than you, but I don't see it as failing. If that makes any sense.
You give people participation trophies.
Well, no, but
you're one of them liberals. No,
you never see me live. No, but yeah, I don't know if it's failing, because some people could just have it better than you. But I don't think that's failing.
Someone could just have it better than you.
Well, yeah, but I don't think.
But you don't fail.
Well, I mean,
if they tell you, if they say, if they were like me versus what's his name, the fastest man alive, Usain Bolt. They're like, hey, I need you guys to sprint across a mile. The first one to make it lives. The other one, the floor is gonna drop completely. You're gonna die. I fucking failed if I don't make it. So I am gonna try to outrun Usain Bolt as much as I'm probably gonna shoot him in the leg.
Yeah, you better take his legs out.
I'm taking his legs out 100%.
They're like
he starts running on his hands.
At that point, you gotta give up. You're like, I'm gonna just stand here. Man's did it with no legs. But yeah, I don't know. That doesn't sound right to me. But I think you can lose out on a role, but I don't know. Maybe
if you lose, you fail. Maybe
I'm not making sense.
No, because I mean, you just don't want to say the word like, because I think I know what you mean. Like you thinking like if you fail as an actress or as an actor, right? Or is that too extreme?
Well, that would be extreme, because that would mean like, because to fail as an actor, you have to like bomb and then like never show up again. Yeah. I'm gonna let that one breathe for a second. Yeah, I guess Amber Heard would be. But like yeah, that's, I mean, kind of. I don't know how to explain it. I can't. Maybe
because I don't think they fail like as like actresses. Failing
at an audition,
I think if you fail to get the role,
yeah, that's different. Failing an audition, like, you can give your best in audition, but if someone has it just better than you lose the role.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can fail something that's meant to be like, I think, a screening, if that makes sense.
I think this is just the way the tabloids are just
they're trying to make it work,
and it's working.
I'm seeing right through them.
No, you're not. Right. You're playing into their hands. You were questioning it. You played into their hands.
It's not failing.
And now look, now they have a view on their website. So it is what it is. Margott Robbie, I don't think that she failed, because I'm thinking the timeline makes sense now is that she probably was auditioning for a bunch of shit. She probably was up and coming for that role, and then she probably got something else and moved on or something like that. Yeah, I think if Margott Robbie was starting there, I think they would have 100% hired her. I just think that they were like, they were gonna make the decision. Maybe she was asking for a little bit more money. Maybe her ambition was for movies, so TV was in the back burner.
Which is crazy, because a lot of actors started on that show. It's been around that long.
Yeah,
like Evan Peters,
for sure. Well, that's the thing, is that shows made breakout stars that would like Evan Peters. So it you already know when there's a TV star, or a TV star or a movie star. Some of them you can tell that they stayed in TV or whatever. Some of them jump from movies to TV, which is great that they can be
bigger, better things,
versatile like that. But Margott Robbie just stayed on top and did what she had to do, even though she had a few flops. And now here she is. What are you looking at me like? If it was like her fault. It wasn't a subtle diss, bro.
Yeah, it was. That's exactly what that sounded like. It wasn't her fault. You're making it sound like that. How about I blame Amsterdam on Christian Bale? What then?
No, obviously he brought ticket sales in for Thor: Love and Thunder.
Ain't no one watched that shit, man.
People watched it for Christian Bale.
Ain't no one watched that.
100%. They were like, "Oh, if we're gonna get anything out of the MCU, we're gonna get Christian Bale."
So they were like, felt robbed.
Probably not. I think if you're there for Christian Bale, I think he did his thing.
No.
I think he did okay. I mean, obviously the killing was lacking. Oh, I'm a god killer. Kills one god. It is what it is. But yeah, I think it was probably because of Margott Robbie. Oh, you know what? Talking about it now, it might be old Denzel's child. Because I ain't never heard of no movie that he came out in. First of all, Tenet failed. Right? COVID. And then did the Blacksman get it?
That is not what it's called.
What is it called?
The Black Klansman.
The Black Klansman. Black Klansman. Sorry. I thought it was Blacksman. Sorry. So the Black Klansman. Did that one flop or did it?
I'll tell you right now.
All right.
Hold on.
It could be him. I might have been aiming my sights at the wrong person. I didn't even know he was casting those movies.
It made $49.3 million in the United States and Canada, and then over in other territories it made $44.1 million for a total worldwide gross of $93.4 million against a production budget of $50 million. Yeah,
Oh, so it did good.
Did really good.
Oh, so that one did good.
Maybe you're just racist.
God damn, no. I think because that one, and then
clearly it's none of these actors, or just
No.
except that Margot Robbie isn't the failure you want her to be.
You know what? She has one hit, okay? One hit that isn't in DC or Harley Quinn, and all of a sudden she's not the problem. Whatever. Barbie boosted her up. I'll say it. I don't care. Watch her come out in a different movie, because you didn't even know she was in Focus, did you? Did you know?
Yeah.
No, you
With
didn't.
Will Smith?
No,
I haven't seen it, but yeah.
Oh, you haven't even seen the movie?
Well, no.
You haven't even seen the movie?
I don't watch a lot of Will Smith movies. I haven't even seen Concussion because I thought that shit was boring.
What? I should whoop your ass.
Was it boring?
No, it wasn't. It was actually very heartfelt and beautiful. I loved
bet.
it.
Yeah.
It was great.
Mm-hmm.
That one was good. The Pursuit of Happiness.
I watched Pursuit.
Okay.
That shit hurts.
What about the 7 pounds?
No.
That was a good one too.
But Focus, that's the one where they're gambling basically, right?
Yeah, and he knows how to figure it out and shit like that.
Yeah. So I know the premise, but I never seen it.
That one's a good movie too. I think she's good in there too. But like I said, I think that one was fair, but I think that one went up against a major movie, so that one didn't get the recognition or the love for it. That's what I think, but it could have been Margot Robbie.
It was. It's not because of Margot Robbie.
Moving on though, last but not least, we're gonna be reacting to a trailer. It's called Foe. It's coming out of MGM. It will have Paul Mescal, Sarah Royce Ronan. This is gonna be one of the Amazon Studios movies that is gonna be making its way into theaters. So could make our top 10 at the end of the year. And on top of that, I wanted to see kind of if this movie would draw me in, because I know Paul Mescal is going to be coming out in Gladiator 2. That one's obviously on hold. I haven't seen any other movie. Oh, I read what other movies he's in, but I haven't seen one that actually calls out my name to watch just yet. So I wanted to see this trailer, see if we enjoy it, and see what we think of Paul Mescal himself.
Yeah.
You want me to read you the synopsis of what it's about?
Yeah.
All right. So it's about Hannah Jr. farm a secluded piece of land that has been in Junior's family for generations, but their quiet life is thrown into turmoil when an uninvited stranger shows up at the door with a startling proposal, and foes memorizing imagery and persistent questions about the nature of humanity bring the not too distant future to luminous life. Interesting. All right. Ready for the trailer?
Yes.
100%? Let's get it.
Hen? Expecting anyone?
I need to have an intimate understanding of your marriage, the good and the bad. I promise it's confidential. It's between you and me.
Do you feel happy here?
Of course I'm happy here. Aren't you?
Do you feel you know how she would react in every situation?
I've always had this fantasy that there's something else out there for me.
Do you want to live mundane lives, or do you want to be part of something special and unique? You've been selected to live up there.
Okay, well, you're wasting your time because we haven't even been on an airplane and she dated.
I should clarify. I'm talking about you here, Junior. Only you. We're going to ensure Hen has company while you're away. We're going to replace you.
I don't want a robot living with my wife.
Do you really want to leave her here all alone, day after day?
He doesn't really see me anymore. Maybe I shouldn't be telling you this.
I encourage you to use this opportunity to act on your instincts. Whatever we decide, we'll be together.
Okay, October 6th. Not bad. Don't look too bad.
No real big complaints.
Another
about
sci-fi movie coming from Amazon Studios. Watch out. It seems interesting. I don't know if this trailer completely drew me in. I don't know what it was.
Yeah. It seemed like it was trying to come off as like a scary movie, if that makes sense, but it's out of place.
Yeah,
it's not a scary movie.
It's trying to be a sci-fi scary movie. If that makes sense. It's kind of like a mixture with what's that movie with that little alien thing? Ryan Reynolds is in it. They're in space. Life. It seemed like with that trailer that really gave you that suspense of like sci-fi horror, like like an alien movie. Mm-hmm. It seemed like this one was trying to be like a sad on the prairie movie, and then went to some horrific sci-fi stunt towards the end. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. The trailer itself is weird. Everything about the movie looks fine. Like, it looks interesting enough to reel me in. I don't know if it's a theater movie though. I think this could be a streaming movie.
And that's the problem, right? That's the problem, because and this is what I was thinking about too, because this is also what I think with Blue Beetle. It feels like a streaming movie. And these streamers that are putting these movies that are, feel and are probably intended to be streaming movies are now being propagated to be pushed up to theatrical release.
Yeah.
I mean, can we, for at least the viewers out there, are you able to describe what the streaming movie feels like? Or like when you look at it and you're like, that's a streaming movie? Because there's movies that I look at and I'm just like, that doesn't look like a theater movie. That looks like I could wait till it comes out.
The best way I can describe a streaming movie, it's like, the best way I can describe it. It looks like something you'd put on if you had nothing else to watch. You're like, hey, there's a brand new movie. It just hit my radar. It came recommended to me on Amazon, Netflix, so on and so forth. Here it is. Like, that's the vibe I get. Because with big theatrical movies, like The Creator, I guess that's a good example. It feels like a spectacle. It feels like that. A lot of it is like, damn, that looks like a theater movie. Like, it'll bang in theaters. Mm-hmm. Well, other movies just give you that, oh, this is a comfy, like, watch at home, enjoy maybe some snacks, popcorn, chill on the couch, enjoy it with a family member, depending on what you're doing, and just watch it. It's not like that's the best way I can put it in terms of like my mind accepting it.
Yeah, and there is movies where you can that you look at and you're like, oh, that should have been in theaters.
Yeah,
like Prey. That one was one where I was like, damn, they should have put that up there because that would have made fucking money.
People are saying Rebel Moon should be one.
I think Rebel Moon should be one too, but Zack Snyder being who he is, working from Warner Brothers and taking his skills to Netflix, and Netflix not quite being there in the whole movie scene or like theater scene. That I think that's what's hurting Zack Snyder personally. I don't think that's like a Netflix issue. I think Zack Snyder is just this entity that is just trying to find his home right now, which is insane to even think about because he's such a nice guy and he's homeless. So it's like, he's just there at Netflix. But at least with streaming movies, I think you got it right on the money, because there is times where I'm just looking at it and I'm like, that could wait until I'm at home. Not necessarily to just use it as background noise, but just to be like, okay, well, I could watch it here. And if I miss something, it's not too big of a deal, but at the same time, I'm still going to be able to pay attention or whatever. Whereas like you go to a theater like Way of Water, you're like, I want to see every last inch of this bitch from head to toe, and same thing with Beyond the Spider-Verse or Across the Spider-Verse and all them movies. So I just wanted to clarify that just so everybody's on the same page when it comes to like what we think is streaming and what we think is movie theater potential. And I don't want anybody to ever feel like, oh, am I crazy that I'm over here watching this movie on streaming and I think it should go to movie theaters? No, it makes sense because sometimes they are that good.
Yeah.
And the person who's directing it could be a breakout director who has a vision, stuff like that. And then you have some people that are made for streaming where, you know, no offense to Eva Longoria, though I think she excelled with her first movie, I would say Flaming Hot would have been a streaming movie.
Yeah.
I think Air would have worked better as a streaming movie as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
let's just, you know, just to clear that out. But with that, check out the faux trailer. It is on YouTube right now. Let us know your guys' thoughts, what you guys think of the trailer. Let us know what you guys think of the episode. If there's any topics that you guys want us to hit, if there's a movie that you guys want us to review, if you guys want to support us in a big way, Josh, go ahead.
Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Filmbros Podcast. We post new episodes there. You can hit us up there for any news or movies you want us to cover. Listen to it anywhere you get your podcasts at Filmbros Podcast. That's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, things of that nature. Subscribe to our Buzzsprout. The link is in those bios I just gave you. At Filmbros Podcast, subscribers get special perks and things like that. Shout outs on episodes, so why not? And when it's all said and done, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Filmbros Podcast.
Yes. Like, subscribe, and catch up with us with all of our episodes out right now. And we'll talk to you guys on the next one.
Talk to you guys later.